perfect timing, honestly, as we talk about defensive linemen, because old Wilt Fong just dropped a Fong bomb here that has had everybody in a panic, complete meltdown on our Discord, as it usually does. It's June, July. It's just kind of how it rocks and rolls. You know, you get a lot of momentum, and then we don't find out that it doesn't go as like we want it to be, and then we all lose it, and that's just kind of how it goes. But Wilt Fong just dropped that Trenton Henderson, the 5-star edge that we have been leading the way for, has now been crystal balled elsewhere. To LSU, mind you, because again, his final through was Georgia, Florida, or was it Texas? I think it was Texas, LSU,
Texas.
and Florida. And now the old Fong bomb comes flying in here and just, drops a nugget on us here. So big time edge, big time loss. Again, has some people in a full-blown panic. So I figured let's talk about it. Let's chit-chat about this defensive line here a little bit. Oh, Cody's already fired up. Hit me, Cody.
I got it. Hey, listen, if there's a school I'd rather him be committed to, be LSU, because they've turned over their defensive unit year after year after year after year after year. They can't keep coaches. They fired their whole defensive staff last year. They don't know what to do with with Harold Perkins. Like what? Like go ahead, let it be LSU. I feel a lot better with him going to LSU and flipping from LSU than a Texas or a Georgia, and I'll just leave it at that.
Look, I think, and again, we always play Disney Gator, and I understand the frustration. I get frustrated about it too because I want us to have success. And you wonder why. Look, the big thing is like why. And for what I'm hearing from just having conversations, it's all about the moolah. I think there's some communication going on. There's more people involved with this now. We talked about with the front office, those guys getting their involvement with it. Obviously, them managing the budget. And I do think there's a part of like, look, if you, I mean, the set of guys that we've gone after, Rodney Cleveland, Valid Sone, Kendall Garvell, Jake Krull, Trenton Henderson, like these are the names that we've all kind of been aligned with, associated with, and now they're all being crystal ball to go elsewhere, or some have even committed elsewhere up until this point. It's frustrating because it's like, okay, well, Florida like makes a great pitch. They do everything right. Here's the value. Here's what we're going to offer you. And it's like another school comes in. It's like, yeah, that's cool. We'll do. It's like, imagine if you're a salesperson and you roll out the perfect pitch. You have the perfect solution. Your price is X. It's a little bit backwards here, but your price is $1,000, let's say. The next guy comes out, doesn't have to pitch anything. Like, hey, we'll do it for $750. Backwards here, right? Texas is offering more money, but you understand from a world that we live in, right? If someone comes to look at your house to redo the garage or the roof and they offer you to do it for $5,000 less, we may question why is it cheaper, but a lot of the times we'll go with a cheaper one because it feels better. I mean, that's kind of what this feels like. These guys are just coming in. They go, well, why don't we pay more? That's the same question of like the company. It's like, why go cheap? Why don't they just lower their price? Because then you get a pitch contest of lowering the price and then somebody's going to lose. So you can't get into a full-blown battle. I understand it. At some point, you got to pull the trigger. I do believe, though, that it's like anything. It's a market, and maybe there's there's a shortage of defensive linemen. They feel they can push the price up. That's just kind of how it is. Anthony, who stopped being shocked. I'm not shocked. Like, this is recruiting. This is kind of how it all unfolds. Like, it doesn't really ever, but it is fun to talk about. It's always something that we're living in it. I think the big question is, why can't we be like the Georgia and Texas, where they kind of just stay steady Eddie throughout the year? Because we always pitch like, hey, we're not going to overpay. We're not going to do these things. I love it. Like, I'm all for saving a buck. Like, I get it. And here's where my thing, though, what I'm more reserved than ever heading into this year than I have the past 3 years, is because we've had this same repetitive cycle where we've panicked right now, right here. And every year, it's ended pretty damn good. Not exactly where we wanted it to be, but it's closed out. We're like, okay, we can sigh of relief. Ended up much better. I think we're in the best place we have been since Napier's been here, since I've been running this podcast. So as for me to panic, that would be asinine. I do think that we can go after guys and be aggressive where we want to be. I just think that we still do have a limit and a line that they're not willing to go over, but we'll see. Again, go ahead.
Can I say this too? Every year, there's always a position of strength, and there's a position that there's only a few guys, and they're going They're going to be game changers right off the rip, and they're asking for all the money. If this was a 5-star wide receiver, we would not be panicking. If this was a 5-star running back, we would not be panicking. Florida has the money to pay. They've signed 3 5-stars last year, technically. And Vernell Brown, McCray,
No, McCray was
and
2 years ago.
or 2 years ago.
Dallas Wilson,
and Vernell Brown. Maybe we don't need defensive tackles like what the fans think that we need. I understand you got to recruit the trenches very well, but maybe the coaches know that we don't need to overpay because maybe they see something that we don't. I'm just
yeah, I
throwing
get
out
where you're
there.
coming from, and again, that's not going to sit well with the fans, but I understand where you're coming from. I think that's always been the play. I will say it feels like, okay, the guy like the Trenton Henderson, James Johnson, Kendall Gervil, and Vonnie Cleveland, Valentine, those guys are all like, those are the top 10 defensive guys in all of their position groups. I bring that up because usually Florida's losing out on a couple guys, but they're at the second tier. And then we're having to go a little bit deeper into the bucket.
Yeah.
Again, little bit of, glass half full kind of look at this perspective of like, okay, well, these guys are at all the top echelon. So if you do take a step back, let's just say, okay, we have to settle. It's going to be much better than years past. I don't think they're going to do that. I still don't. Here's another thing to keep in mind. Kirby said this, so I'm not breaking any news here. But these cats, they get paid when they recruit. I know of some guys on our staff that were basically supplemented to stay committed throughout that entire time. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some guys that, when we lost a couple guys to Auburn a couple years ago, where we got burned by holding them committed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, kind of got left holding the bag. That's going to happen to a lot of schools. That is a factor to kind of keep in mind as well, too. So, again, for me, the lack of where I'm not too frustrated or too concerned is just because history has. If there's one thing we can't trust Billy in, it's getting the job done when it comes to recruiting. Maybe not to the standard that Florida wants it to be at a top 5 class. I get that. But if we want to talk about quality, bringing in guys that are impactful, the 2023 class, go look at that class. That is the class look, it's going to pay itself off this year if it's panning out to be what we think it should be. That's going to be the big key.
And I just come up with that because you look at Texas, right? What is Texas known for? Running backs, always overpaying for running backs, getting the best running back out of every class. You know what they haven't done this year? They haven't got the best running back out of the class. You know why? Because their running back class is loaded. They're loading up on defensive line because they've got pillaged the last 2 years from the NFL draft and defensive line. Go look it up. Texas has lost like 8 players to the defensive line.
They lost a ton of guys.
Yeah, on the defensive line. So what are they doing? They're loading up. They're putting all their bag on the defensive line and a couple other positions. It's cyclical. It just sucks because the needs of Florida and the needs of Texas right now are the same. They've done a lot more winning than we have in the last and recent years. But I you're also throwing blows with the Titans. I mean, we're not getting beat out by Ole Miss for a defensive lineman. We're getting beat out by Texas and UGA and Ohio State for defensive linemen. That's the juggernaut.
Is ringing what you just said. Think how far Billy has come to even be in the conversation with these top guys. And look, there's two sides to this. Some people are going to be like, yeah, 100%. Good point, Joe. Good point, Cody. And the other half are going to be, we are the top guys. We're Florida Gators. That's a loser mentality. Listen, like, I understand your perspective on that, and I agree with you. Florida should operate and needs to be functioning at this level. But we haven't been. We haven't been there. So you can believe it and want to act like it and think that you belong at that table as much as you want, because I agree with you. But there's a point where we lost our seat, boys. Okay, we got to earn it back. It's just not assumed anymore because of the colors. That's just a matter of a fact. So these other schools have been able to buy a seat or have won themselves a seat at the table that we have essentially allowed to be taken from us. And that's when I go back to that quote of like, he makes Dan Mullen look good. The hell he did. Dan gave the seat away. Dan threw the seat away.
Yep.
And so those are all interesting things to take a look at. But look, it's way too early to panic. I think that the guys they go after and bring in are doing well. And look, I can say this. there has been mayhem in the Discord. If you follow along the Discord, you know about a lot of some of these names already. And you also know what I'm sort of about to say. There as quickly as there's bad news, it does seem that the staff is pitching or pivoting very quickly. And so they've got two names, or I don't know their names, but one of the names I heard that would excite people if they were to land, that Florida is now rotating their focus back to. Why this is important is because, again, them going after all these top guys, they're able to kind of, they're fishing in a good pond right now. So I will say that, again, the people that I talk to, they love to panic, they freak out. And Dave's one of them, obviously, who he's connected. And usually he's in a full-blown, like, just he's frustrated with the situation. Even him's like, look, like, it sucks right now, but this is the first time in a long time what I've heard, like, there seems to be a nice pivotal change happening. Here's what I want to note, though, okay? That doesn't mean anything. Like, tomorrow it could change. The narrative can change once again. That's how quickly this stuff and how fluid this stuff is. That's why I don't really get too worked up. I like to report it as it comes. I get excited. We talk about it. But as what we do here, I try to have healthy, genuine conversations for people who want to follow along and know how they should feel or know what they want to feel. Or, and again, have their own opinion from it. I mean, at the end of the day, you may say, hey, Sheldon, you're an idiot. The whole thing's going to shambles. I will push, I confidently will push back to those narratives this year because of the last 3 years. I think that they've shown to be okay. That's where I will, because I don't think there's a money issue. I think there might be a miscommunication issue right now with the new front office. I think that could be more of a factor than us not just. Now, I still think that we may not just kind of be willing to just shuffle some money around, but I do believe that there might be a little miscommunication that could be getting figured out.
Hey, Billy Napier, I know you watch the show. You want to start landing these big 5-star guys? You got your golden opportunity. You get to go to Miami. You can score. You can put 50 on them. Texas coming to your house. Go ahead and beat them by, have Arch throw 3 picks and get sacked 6-7 times. Right there, LSU. Go beat LSU at night in Death Valley. Hey, you're in it to win it, baby. You could have a top 5 class next year. All you got to do is win some games.
Absolutely. And look, we talked about the commit happening tomorrow, press and carry between 7 and 9 p.m. So we'll probably be live doing our show with our newest commit, Desmond, the offensive lineman who we watched the other day. He's joining the show, should be joining the show. So that'd be fun tomorrow. Maybe make sure you guys tune in for that. But Preston Carey will be committing tomorrow out of the likes of Auburn, Florida, Georgia, and drumroll, please, Rutgers University. I mean, what a group. What a group to be associated. Out of IMG Academy. It looks like from East Newport, New York, though. So is there another IMG
That's
out there?
Why Rutgers is in there.
Okay.
That's why Rutgers is up there.
All right. 4-star cat, top 300 player nationally, top 30. And again, this one could be a big pull here for Florida with the likes of more likely Jameer Perez committing or flipping to Ohio State. It hasn't happened yet, but it seems like there is. The writing is on the wall. He moved from New York to Florida to attend IMG. Okay, so he's from New York, but currently committing IMG. So here's what he had to say about the program. They're talking about how bad they want me in the program. Earlier this month at IMG, I'm already on a college schedule and playing high competitive and practice every day. They definitely showed how much they wanted me during the visit. One of the things I look for mainly is what love is going to be shown from the whole staff and especially the head coach. Coach Napier said he likes me as a player, my character, and then I come in and have a positive effect on any program and not just the Gators. They want me to try every spot on the D-line, mostly inside from the 41 down to the 0. They want to get a feel for where they want me. I feel like I'm a bit more of a hybrid since I'm a longer dude, but I'm still heavy. I'm almost 6'6", almost 305, 310, but I usually play 300 pounds. Florida sees me as an end in the defense, but will move me around. Big time versatile guy. You've been talking about it, Cody. Guy with a lot of movements, a lot of different opportunities here.
If there's one thing that if you've been reading the articles and watching the film breakdowns, versatility is a key on this defense, and a lot of programs have moved to that. A lot of NFL program. Brian Flores from the Minnesota Vikings, king of versatility. I mean, he takes cats that nobody knows of and makes them superstars just because they're versatile.
Anthony Pons, I got a question. And before I address this, how old are you?
Yeah, Listen, I became a Gators fan during the last year of Muschamp. So the most winning I've seen is under Mullen.